Welcome back to the Bnai Zion Corner. Every week we have an esteemed representative from the Bnai Zion Foundation here to talk to us about the many different facets of the group. Last week we once again had Rebecca Harari, Senior Vice President of Bnai Zion. She spoke about all the upcoming ladies' events, Fall Forward, that was happening this week in the home of Shelley and Jack Sitt at 25 Roosevelt Avenue in Deal, New Jersey. Supposed to be at one date, but due to pending inclement weather, the Fall Forward event has been postponed by one day. It was supposed to take place tomorrow, Wednesday, now scheduled to take place this Thursday, August 23rd from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more information, please contact Rebecca Harari. Her phone number is 646-485-7999. You can visit the Bnai Zion website at bnaizion.org/events. Tonight, on the broadcast, we have the esteemed board member and Vice President Shelley Kilcoyne with us. Shelley has a long history of Bnai Zion and is here to talk about this evening about her association with Bnai Zion. So welcome to the broadcast, Shelley. It's going to be very interesting to hear about your history with the organization. So tell us, how far back in your family's history have they been involved with Bnai Zion?
First of all, thanks for having me on the show, Zev. It's wonderful to be here, and it's a great opportunity. My grandparents were the first in my family to be involved in Bnai Zion. I'm guessing that they were involved starting in the 1940s. I know it was just before the establishment of the State of Israel. My grandmother was on the board of directors for the Women's League. My grandfather was also on the board of directors. And it was back when Herman Quitman was president, and that goes back many years ago. So they were among the first generations of members to Bnai Zion and were very active. They also knew Dr. Levine, and as I mentioned, Herman Quitman, and they knew everyone personally, as everyone in my family did. And they attended many events that were given by Bnai Zion. One of the things they did, there were annual meetings at Kutsher in the Catskills, and I remember not only going to Kutsher's, I remember the great meals that they had at Kutsher's and the many dinners and events they had there, and the fact that we all had to get dressed up for many of the events that they had. My whole family came to those meetings, including me, my sister. At one time, believe it or not, I remember my dogs being there, even though I don't know how that happened. This was one before people were so dog-friendly. But it did happen, and my aunt and uncle were there as well as my cousin.
And it's amazing because up until the very end, I think Kutsher is one of the last holdouts of the Catskills hotels. They just were recently sold, so I know a lot of good Jewish memories at Kutsher's. So you have an amazing story. So I know our listeners love hearing about the days gone by, the old days. Many have also been a part of Bnai Zion in one way or another over the years. The organization over 110 years old. So what happened after your grandparents' involvement? Did your family's association with the organization stop there?
No, it absolutely did not. My parents, Eleanor and Aaron Ignow, may they rest in peace, they were very, very involved in the organization, both when my grandparents were alive and after they passed away. My father was the vice president of the board of directors. He was treasurer of the foundation for many years, and he was also president of the Queens Region. And just like her mother before her, my mother was vice president of the Women's League. So I have pictures of them giving presentations at Bnai Zion. I also have pictures of my mother holding my own daughter in her arms while she was giving a speech on behalf of Bnai Zion. So they were very involved in the local chapter. I remember them having many events in their own home in Bayside, New York. I remember trying to sneak down and get some food when I was, I guess, around 10 or 12 years old and being shooed upstairs. My mother was always proud of the fact that she was friendly with Dr. Rafe, who's head of Bnai Zion Hospital. She was also friendly with Yoab from Ahava and very supportive. And at one time, we had a parlor meeting at our house, and my mother stood up and she donated $25,000 to the hospital in honor of my husband Marty and me, which I was totally shocked about. But that was just one of the ways that they like to support Bnai Zion.
What a wonderful gift.
Oh, it was great. I was, like I said, shocked. And one of the things we've done to continue their memory is that we established a small endowment in my parents' names that gives something special, right now it's an iPad, to a deserving young adult at a Haba. And one year I was able to go to Israel and dedicate that personally 1 year. So, that is one of the ways that we stay involved, and my parents were involved.
Terrific. So, Shelley, we've been hearing over the course of the Bnai Zion Corner here on the station over the last several months from many different people who've been involved in Bnai Zion in one way or another, but I don't think any of them have quite as long a history as you and your family does with the organization. So now that you're vice president, you're a board member of Bnai Zion, so tell us, Shelley, why did you become involved with Bnai Zion, and what are some of the many projects that are most important to you?
Okay, well, there are many reasons I became involved, and my husband is involved. The things is that, that presentation, when there was a Polar meeting in my house, Mickey Kafka, who was head of the Bnai Zion Medical Center Emergency Department, he gave a great presentation, and because of that, my husband and I felt so compelled to visit Israel and the hospital that we actually visited the hospital a few months later. And we went to the hospital. When we visited Mickey Kafka in his office, there was a plaque outside his office that dedicated his office to my father's parents. And Mickey pointed it out. We were, again, very surprised to see it, and it was a great connection, and it was truly a very special feeling. When my father passed away about 5 years ago, I felt very strongly about carrying on the family tradition. So I did get officially involved with the board of directors. One of the many reasons I like the involvement there is that I feel like a big fish in a small pond. And what I mean by that, there are thousands of members of Bnai Zion, so it's not a small organization. But it is more intimate than some of the other very worthy organizations that are around. So I've always known the people who are involved, the president of the organization, the president of the board of directors, the major donors, and so on. So that's kind of, I've always had that family feeling up in Zion that you really don't get these days with a lot of, larger organizations. And like I said, we have visited many of the projects. I did in 2017, again, I went to Israel with President Steve Sabisky and Cheryl Beer, the CEO, and we visited the medical center, the David Yellen College, Malay Adamim, and we met with Mayor Benny Kashril of Malay Adamim. I planted a tree during the dedication of the Mel Parness Park. Mel was one of our past presidents, very, very close friend of the family, very close emotionally. I attended a dedication of a building for Israel Elwyn, which is a village that's dedicated to disabled adults. And I visited Ahava Village. And Ahava Village, what they do there is absolutely amazing. Their program changes the lives of traumatized children from broken homes. So they have a system there where they offer support to these children in a family environment that changes their lives, turns them into wonderful, happy, productive adults. And that's something that I often say, we don't even have that in the United States, anything like that. We have a very broken foster system here. So I would love it if we could look toward Ahava Village as a model for some of the, for some projects here. But in Israel, it is absolutely wonderful. I've met many of the children from Ahava Village and the young adults, and it's just absolutely amazing. So that does have a special place in my heart.
And they do amazing work at Ahava Village. So truly incredible what you've been doing. 3 generations of a family that has remained dedicated to the Bnai Zion Foundation. I'm sure our older listeners know what Bnai Zion is all about. Perhaps you can tell our younger listeners a little bit more about what the organization does.
Okay, well, our mission is to build a vibrant, inclusive, and healthy Israel, and to constantly improve projects that are going on in Israel. We seek and fund projects that are of great benefit to the people of Israel of all ages and all ability levels. And by doing this work, we work to strengthen Israel itself. In the last 110 years, we've funded over 100 capital and humanitarian projects, and we're always looking for more. And we particularly welcome the involvement of young adults and young business people in visiting our projects in Israel and talking about and visiting the Bnai Zion office and events in New York and supporting our projects. If you'd like more information on Bnai Zion, if they would like more information, they can go to www.bnaizion.org, or they can call Rebecca temporary at 646-485-7999.
Thank you very much, Vice President and Board Member Shelley Kilcoyne. It was truly a pleasure having you on the broadcast this evening. Next week, we promise to have another very interesting broadcast on the Bnai Zion Corner and talk about some of the past and future events coming up on behalf of the organization. Once again, thanks again for joining us, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Zev. It was great to be on your show.
And you've been listening to the Bnai Zion Corner. We're going to be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned.